All right, chapter 27, the death of Judas Iscariot. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. They didn't care. No, what's done is done. We don't care. What, that you did it. We don't want your money back. We don't care. Saying, I've sinned, betrayed innocent blood. He cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself. So he knew what he had done. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and brought them with them and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood unto this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet. Here we got more prophecy. It was fulfilled, spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver and the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value. And if I remember correctly, I was listening to a Bible study, and the price of a slave or something like that is 30 pieces of silver. I forget if that's correct or not, but I want to say that it is. And gave them for the potter's field as the Lord appointed me. Jesus before Pontius Pilate, and Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the king of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. You said it. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? And he answered him to never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Now at that feast the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner whom they would. And they had then a notable prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you, Barabbas or Jesus, which is called Christ? For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. So he knew. When he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with that just man? For I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. So she got vision of the truth, of what was going on. And she said, Don't do anything to him. He's innocent. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas, and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said unto them, Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you, that said Barabbas? Pilate saith unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ? They all say unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why, what evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to do it. Then answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and on our children. So Pilate said, He's innocent. I'm not going to do it. You deal with it. And they said, Fine, we'll take it. If you're going to give us that authority, we'll kill him. Then released he Barabbas unto them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. All right. Jesus crowned with thorns. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the common hall and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers, and they striped him, and put on him a scarlet robe. All right, let's look up striped. I mean, they had cat's tails back then, that whip that had like shards of stuff that'll just cut flesh and stuff. Let's see here. So we're on 27:28. 27:28. All right, they striped him from the base of G14:16 to cause to sink out of, that is specifically as of clothing, to divest, strip, take off, unclothe. Oh, okay. So they stripped him of his clothes. Never mind, it wasn't a cat's tail in this case. That's why we look stuff up, so we don't get things mixed up. All right, so they stripped him. They stripped him butt naked. And to be naked was not, I mean, how would you feel if you were stripped naked? That's why when, what was it, when Bush, after 9/11, and they had all these so-called terrorists, and they brought them to Guantanamo Bay, they strip them naked and stuff as a punishment and a torture, because, you know, it's not, you know, how do you feel when you're naked? You know, in front of a whole bunch of people mocking and beating you. And on top of that, in the Bible it says that nakedness, there's a lot in that. And put on him a scarlet robe. And when they had platted a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head, and a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And they spit on him, and they took the reed and smote him on the head. So they gave him a staff, and then they yanked the staff from him and started beating him with it. And after that, they had mocked him. They took the robe off from him. So they gave him all this stuff, and then they ended up taking it back anyways. They were doing it just to mock him and just to, you know, be horrible people. And put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. So they had beaten him so much, he couldn't even carry his cross. He needed help. So they grabbed this other guy. A Roman could tell a Jew to carry one of their bags or whatever for a mile or whatever. So they told him, hey, do that. He had to do it. Jesus crucified. And when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall. What is gall? All right, 34. 34. Feminine of an equivalent, perhaps akin to the same as, from the greenish hue, gall or bile. That is a poison. Wormwood, poppy. So they gave him poppy and vinegar, or not poppy, but they gave him a poison and vinegar. And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him, and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, So there's more prophecy. They parted his garments among them, and upon his vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down, they watched him there. So he's up there in agony, and they're sitting down there gambling away his stuff. Who's going to get his cloak or whatever, and laughing and just having a good old time, having a party down there while he's up there strangling. When they're up there, it actually chokes you out from the weight of your body pulling you down like that, and other things, and all the other torture they gave him, and set up over his head his accusation written, this is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Then were there two thieves crucified with him, one on his right hand and another on his left. And I'm not sure, but does this kind of sound like the sheeps and the goats and the separation and the one on the right and one on the left? As well. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, Thou that destroyest the temple and buildest in 3 days, save thee. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise, all the chief priests mocked him with the scribes and the elders, said, He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him come down from the cross, and we will believe. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have it, for he said, I am the Son of God. The thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. So for 3 hours there was darkness. And it might have been an eclipse. I think I remember some study that I went into that was talking about how when they actually pull back the star systems and the way that everything aligns, because everything moves and moves and moves and it doesn't change or vary. So they actually pull it back to this exact time, and there's evidence to show there was an eclipse at that same time, that same period when Jesus was crucified. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, This man calleth for Elias. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, Let it see whether Elias will come to save him. The death of Jesus. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. He yielded it with a loud voice. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. So when he died, there was a huge earthquake, the temple shook, fell apart, and bodies of the saints which slept, and when we die, we go to sleep, they arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Now, when the centurion and they that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquake, and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, Truly, this was the Son of God. So, he dies. That exact moment, a huge earthquake happens. The temple, which he said would be destroyed, was destroyed. And then they were like, whoa, he is the Son of God. He wasn't lying. And, well, some of them, not all of them were like that. But people were acknowledging that. And many women were there, beholding afar off, which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministered unto him, among which was Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's children. Jesus laid in the sepulchre. When the even was come, the next day, there was a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the sepulchre guarded until the next day. The followed. So now we got another day. This is the third day, I believe, or second, or I don't know. We'll find out. The following, the day of the preparation. I want to say this is the third. Preparation. The chief priests and the Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure to be guarded until the third day, lest that his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead, so the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, Ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as you can. He says, I'm not doing it. I'm not pulling my guards out to do it. You do it. It's your problem. I don't care. He was innocent. I didn't want to kill him. You wanted to kill him. You deal with it. You vile and wicked generation of vipers. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. Okay? Chapter 28, the resurrection of Jesus. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. They were scared. And scared isn't even a right word for it. They were so scared, these hardened soldier men could not move out of terror. For fear of him the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear ye not, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him. Lo, I have told you. And they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, All hail. And they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. Then said Jesus unto them, Be not afraid, go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee, and there shall they see me. The bribing of the soldiers. Now, when they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city, and show unto the chief priests all the things that were done. And when they were assembled with the elders and had taken counsel, they gave large money unto the soldiers, saying, Say ye, his disciples came by night and stole him away while we slept. So still, even after this, even after it was proven to them that this is the Son of God, that he is God. Everything he said was true. They said, lie. We'll give you a whole bunch of money to lie. Do not tell people what actually happened. And if this comes to the governor's ear, we will persuade him and secure you. So we'll protect you. Just don't tell the truth. So they took the money and did as they were taught. That's interesting. They did as they were taught. They were taught this. It wasn't their idea. These people, these elders and all that, taught them exactly what they needed to do, and they did it. And also, I think that they weren't actual scribes or any of the people of the law, but they were like, they had soldiers and guards and stuff like that. So they were taught how to be and how to act and what they need to do to follow in accordance of these so-called powerful men. So they did as they were taught. And this saying is commonly reported among the Jews until this day. The Great Commission. Then the 11 disciples, because there's not 12 now, because Judas is dead, went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And when he saw them, they worshipped him, but some doubted. So still, after all this, some of the disciples still doubted. I mean, how much more do you need? Well, obviously they needed more, because they still doubted. And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. So he told them, he commanded them to go, teach all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. So teach them the law, the commandments I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. And that concludes the book of Matthew. I'll see you next week, and we will start up Mark.